Hey, what's up, y'all? My name is Devontae, and I sacrifice my time so you don't have to. Out of all the wrestlers that I've covered so far, I gotta say this one right here, it almost makes you super angry just because of how unfair, how unjustified, how careless of a situation in regards to this wrestler who literally did nothing wrong. He did nothing wrong, absolutely nothing wrong. And he lost his job for it. He lost his job for doing his job. Muhammad Hassan has always been one of those characters, one of the biggest. I think if there's when you look up the term "what if," Muhammad Hassan is standing right there with his arms wide open, praising Allah. And it's just such a goddamn shame to have such a fucking groundbreaking gimmick, something that got you insane vitriol fucking heat, where this guy was going. He had the rocket ship directly up his ass, and he wasn't even on the main roster for a full year before he was fired. Muhammad Hassan is a sad case. Muhammad Hassan is a sad story. He is pretty much the definition of getting thrown under the bus. Take this for an example. He comes on the main roster and he does play this Arabic gimmick, right? Supposed to be Muslim, obviously. And he has like this whole thing where, he talks about the injustices of 9/11. He talks about how people are constantly being, prejudiced to him. And I think he was supposed to be Palestinian too. Or wasn't he supposed to? I think I heard, or actually not even just Palestinian. From what I remember hearing him talking in the interview, I think he was supposed to be from Jordan. But he's a Palestinian from Jordan, if I'm not mistaken. So you might be like Jordanian or some shit. But the whole deal was, he wasn't that character. He wasn't Muslim. Muhammad Hassan, his real name is Mark Capani. He's Italian. Straight up, 100% fucking Italian. And they give him this gimmick. I'm not even here to say that it was unnecessary, because I think the gimmick in itself was actually really fucking good. And I think the timing was right for a gimmick like that. It's not as if they did it like on the same week of 9/11. They waited like 3.5 years damn near before they actually unleashed the gimmick in itself. And he played the shit out of it. They gave him Davari, who actually is Muslim too, or Persian or some shit like that, right? And he actually can speak Arabic and everything, right? And I thought those two had a great combination. He'll come out, he'll talk all the shit in the world about the injustice done to people like him. And it's crazy too, because even though he's Italian, I can tell you right now, bro, from the people, because I live in Miami and I grew up in Fort Lauderdale. And for anybody who lives in Fort Lauderdale, there's a bunch of Muslims in that community. And I can tell you, bro, from people that I went to school with, more in particular, a bunch of Egyptians, they would tell you outright that they related to Muhammad Hassan. He was the first ever person that I've ever seen who was a heel, who was able to get over with a subsect of the audience. Those Muslim people really fought with Muhammad Hassan because he did speak for them. He spoke on behalf the trials and tribulations of the prejudice that was given upon them because of how they looked, because of a situation that had nothing to do with them. And for him to come on WWE television and to just, and honestly, it's not like nowadays when people can, cuck for Palestine and shit like that and think that they're being brave, as if no one in the celebrity movement or Hollywood or anyone within social media doesn't back anything that you're saying. No, back then in 2004, 2005, no, outwardly being Muslim, that was brave. Nowadays, that shit ain't brave. You're just pretty much virtue signaling to a crowd. Back in the days, fucking insanely brave to go out there, and especially back in the days when people actually loved America, or Americans loved America. I remember when because I remember the first time I seen Muhammad Hassan. This is when he was starting shit with Jerry Lawler and Jim Ross. This was like right before, because they had a match, Jerry Lawler and Muhammad Hassan at the Elimination Chamber show, the New Year's Revolution show. That's the show with, I think that was in Puerto Rico, right? That he had a match with him and he ended up beating him. And he ended up going on like this long undefeated streak. I know he beat guys like, I know he beat the fuck out of Sergeant Slaughter. I know he took out he took out Jericho too, and Benoit for that matter. He was on a streak. And I remember when he went into the Royal Rumble and he was so fucking hated as a heel, bruh. He was so hated as a heel. Literally everybody in the Royal Rumble jumped him. Heels, baby faces, it didn't even matter at the time. They all jumped him. And it's crazy, bruh. It's just, I even remember Edge fucking around jumping. Mind you, Edge, this was like in the middle of him going on his psychotic heel run, which, by the way, he's Canadian. So it was just crazy how much heat he got. And then he ended up going to WrestleMania, and they did that whole little segment when he was picking on poor Eugene, and then Hulk Hogan came out to save him and shit like that. And then he got that match with Hulk Hogan and Shawn Michaels taking on him, and was it Daivari and Muhammad Hassan versus Shawn Michaels and Hulk Hogan? I think some shit like that. And bruh, it was just fantastic how much on a run he was so damn quickly. See, I think people forget how fucking insane his run went as far as how fast he showed up, bruh, like right after Survivor Series. Because I don't remember him. He wasn't on the Survivor Series card, but he was on the New Year's Revolution card. So he had to show up like late November, early December of 2004. He had to show up around that time period. And already, bruh, look at his position at WrestleMania. Mind you, WrestleMania is in April. Bruh. April. We're talking about, let's just say he showed up in December. So January, February, March, April. 4 months, bruh. 4 months. Do you know how fucking short of a time span that was? Think about this for a second. There's more time in between AJ and Cody Rhodes at Backlash. There's more time in between then versus when Muhammad Hassan debuted and he was already at WrestleMania going toe-to-toe with Hulk Hogan in a segment. That's how quickly. And then he got traded to SmackDown, and immediately he was put into some program with Batista. Yeah, he did some stuff with Shelton Benjamin and shit like that, but that didn't really matter. I want to talk more about the Batista stuff, because I feel like that's what's more important, right? And it's like, well, actually, no, nah, because he did have some matches with Batista on Raw. Then he did the Shelton Benjamin stuff, if I remember correctly. And then afterwards, that's when like he was doing the whole cringe stuff with Austin and Bischoff, and that was stupid. And then that's when he went to SmackDown. I know he did like a little which was so stupid, and it shocked the fuck out of me at the time too. This is when the Super Cena stuff really started to catch on, because I remember his first time losing the match. And mind you, I remember this match like the back of my hand, bro. I was playing my Game Boy Advance SP, Yoshi's Island at the time, sitting on my couch in some room, because I had a couch in my room at the time. And I swear, bro, tell me why I'm playing my Game Boy Advance SP. Mind you, I just probably turned 13, or I'm about to turn 13. And I look up at my TV playing it, and I still remember this, bro, because at this point in time, Muhammad Hassan didn't lose a match yet. At least I don't remember him losing the match, not one-on-one clean at least. And bruh, for him to go in there, and he actually, because Cena just showed up on Raw, and then Cena just squashed him. Like, he squashed him, bro. Like, that match lasted like not even 5 minutes. And I remember going, just outright. I just thought that was so weird. I mean, nowadays I get pissed off at that shit, but at the time I thought that was so weird. I still remember that shit. It was so crazy. Cena just straight up squashed that man, and that was his first ever time. At least that's the first time I can remember him ever like losing legit one-on-one, no bullshit, straight up. And that's when he went over to SmackDown, right? And that's when he had his whole little stuff with, because he was getting ready. I remember he was having confrontations with Batista and stuff like that. But obviously what everybody talks about, and his only program on SmackDown when he got drafted, mind you, let me just reiterate this one more time. By this point, we're talking about like over the summertime, like June, July-ish. Let's just say July. We're talking about December is when he debuted. January, February, March, April, May, June, July. It hasn't even been 8 months yet. Drew McIntyre and CM Punk's rivalry has gone on longer than Muhammad Hassan's entire run in WWE, as far as the main roster is considered. Think about that for a second. He gets into a rivalry with The Undertaker, and you know, they were I'm not gonna lie, they were towing the line. It's not like he was towing the line, but they were towing the line, bruh. And it's just it's such bullshit, bro. Because they were doing this whole little 6-man fucking elimination thing to decide who was going to be the champion for SmackDown after Cena left. And I remember that's when JBL thought he won, and then Batista, showed up on SmackDown when Theodore Long said he got drafted over, if you guys remember that show. But that's when he started having his problems with Undertaker. And it was one in particular, right? It was this thing that happened on the show. So it was actually two things that happened. Well, no, it was one thing. No, I'm sorry. I'm getting my timelines mixed up. No, it was just one thing. So let me just set this premise up for you, okay? So this same week, I don't know how long before, how long after, but this same week, that's when the whole shit happened with the London bombings, right? Some guys came and they were Islamists, they were Islamic terrorists and everything. And I can't remember I forgot, no, because it wasn't a bridge or anything like that. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, because we were talking about this in school also. But pretty much a bomber came, and like it was like some bus area where like a subway station underground or some shit. And these people came, these terrorists came, and pretty much they did the whole little suicide bombing things, and they ended up killing, and like they ended up murdering. Well, I know it wasn't because they murdered like a couple of dozen people, but like fucking a shit ton of people were like injured and shit like that. That was the whole situation that happened in London. Like suicide bombers, terrorists, all that shit. They did it like in the middle of London, ended up detonating somewhere near a bus or a train station or some shit. And that whole shit took care, right? That was the same week. Well, Muhammad Hassan and WWE and Daivari and The Undertaker, they ended up doing this angle where Daivari and like these guys, which they, you look at them and they look like fucking, how would you describe them, bro? Like, I mean, I could just say terrorists, but like I wouldn't know specifically how I would like to describe them, as far as like ISIS terrorists. I guess it's probably the best way to say it. Maybe ISIS. But like you're looking at them, maybe never say that because that sounds kind of ignorant, because I don't even know ISIS's garb. But they look like terrorists with the ski mask and stuff like that, essentially. And they come out, and Daivari has like this like wire, almost like a fucking like a violin or a piano wire or some shit, and they beat the dog shit out of the Undertaker. And Muhammad Hassan, because his finisher was the camel clutch, he got on top of Undertaker, and while he's choking him out with the camel wire, he's like, I think he put him in the camel clutch, and then he started to choke him out with the wire, with the camel clutch or some shit like that. But afterwards, these guys, with the mask on and shit like that, they ended up picking Undertaker up, and like almost like Undertaker's druids would pick him up, but like, they're terrorists, and they're being depicted as terrorists, and they're picking Undertaker up and they're carrying him out of the arena while Muhammad Hassan is on his knees and he's like praising Allah for like the sacrifice or whatever. It's crazy. I'm not gonna lie, it's a crazy angle when you're looking at it. But the problem is it happened to coincide right next, or it happened on the exact same week as the London bombings. And that whole situation right there, like, bruh, everybody was talking about it at the time, man. Everybody, man. That shit was all over the damn news, bruh. And UPN, that was their station at the time, down here, My 33, they were going to kick him off. They were about to kick him off the air because of that shit. And they gave him an ultimatum. Essentially, either A, they get kicked off of television, or, they had to take Muhammad Hassan off the air. That was it. And obviously, they ended up taking Muhammad Hassan off the air. They did a angle where essentially Undertaker killed Muhammad Hassan. He ended up last riding him off the fucking stage. Or like, nah, he last riding him through the stage. And there was like a cement floor on the bottom. And, essentially what they're saying is that Undertaker killed Muhammad Hassan, essentially. I mean, he's never been seen since. And obviously, Muhammad Hassan got written off of television. And he was fired afterwards. Or I guess they let his, No, I think he was fired afterwards, which was just bullshit, because they released him. I don't think they let his contract run. They just released him, probably like a month or two later. It was bullshit, absolute bullshit. And the whole thing was he was supposed to be going, because I remember hearing a rumor saying that he was gonna go fight Batista at SummerSlam, and he was going to go win the World Heavyweight Championship from Batista and start a whole new angle with that. And you can only assume what would have happened going forward with Muhammad Hassan as world champion. Can you imagine the whole hijab look with the World Heavyweight Champion on his waist and it's open? And he would have looked great with the championship belt. Dude was built like a fucking Greek goddess on top of that also. A little bit smaller than Batista, but still though, he was built really, really nice. Dude would have looked great with the World Heavyweight Championship around his waist. And it's just bullshit. He didn't ask for the gimmick. You gave him the gimmick. And then he made the gimmick work. And then when he made the gimmick work, you took it upon yourself to add extra layers to it. And then he did that. And he did it way too well. And then he gets fired for it, bruh. It's bullshit. And the worst part about it is, I know people are going to probably be like, why didn't Muhammad Hassan ever sue WWE? Well, I'm just taking a shot in the dark here. I can't give you a legitimate reason why, but I'm going to assume it has something to do with the independent contractor clause, more in particular that they can just fire you at whim. They don't have to have an explanation. If WWE just wants to get rid of you, they can get rid of you. It doesn't matter at all. And that's what they did. They ended up getting rid of him. And it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I understand everybody's position in this. I get it. UPN, they were put into a position where like the world was looking directly at them for what happened on SmackDown. WWE, who was probably the biggest culprit because they're the ones that did the entire angle, now they're put into a position as to whether or not they have to get rid of the superstar or they have to get taken off the air, which obviously they're not going to let an entire superstar get them kicked off the air, even though it was their fault. And the only innocent victim in all this, Muhammad Hassan, who didn't do a goddamn thing wrong but his job. And it's just, like I said, one of the biggest what ifs. He has a interview up if you guys want to go check it out with Chris Van Vliet. I think he did like a month ago. You know, he's happy, he's cheerful, he's like a principal at some high school in New York, so it's good for him. But man, that's just still so unfair and so unjustly. It just always pisses me off when I see that. It's just like, how does that even happen in the 21st century where someone could just get unceremoniously fired like that for doing their job? It's just beyond me. It's wild. It's wild. And like I said, the worst part about it in the end of the day is that Muhammad Hassan, dude, like he could have been huge right now. One of the greatest heels in the history of the business, easily, with how much heat he was getting, especially today. Can you imagine Muhammad Hassan being used today? Oh my God. Oh my God. The heat that he'll be getting. Damn, man. It's a crying shame. You know, it's just funny to think that his whole career lasted from December or November of 2004. Let's just say December of 2004 all the way up to around July of 2005. That's 8 months. That's 8 months. You do realize that, let's just say hypothetically speaking, let's just say you went into a coma and let's say September of 2004 or something, and you woke up from that coma in August of 2005, you'd have no clue Muhammad Hassan was even a damn thing. That's how quick his run went. And it's even worse because for the most part, they erased all history of Muhammad Hassan. No one ever talks about him anymore. No one ever in WWE, you know, like mentions him or anything like that. It's like he's just a blur, just a moment that just never happened. When in reality, dude, honestly, in his short stint, ended up being one of the greatest heels of that time period. And by far the most promising talent in all of wrestling by that point. Dude had it all taken away from him, and it wasn't even his fault. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Like I said, this one was all depressing, from the character, from the story being portrayed, and from the guy who legitimately, I can't stress this enough, he didn't do anything but his job. It's just such bullshit. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. If you got some memories from Muhammad Hassan, talk about it in the comment section below. The only good thing and the only happy ending to this is that he's at peace with himself and he's living his best life right now in New York City. So there's always a happy ending, right? Deuces, P, Ice.